Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In today's video, we are finally going to be diving into the War Within, and we're going to talk about 10 new exciting either changes or additions coming in this upcoming expansion. Now, this video is not meant to serve as a tutorial. This will not be an in-depth explanation or guide. I just wanted to throw out a quick video discussing 10 new exciting things that I think you should know about, especially now as we get more information about these professions. So I hope this gets you excited. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and let's get started. Up first, something I think we are all going to be excited about, which is why I have it right here on screen, and the first thing on this list is that there is going to be a catch-up system built into the War Within that turns on pretty early. Now, this article that I'm reviewing right here actually came out just 2 days ago, so we don't exactly know what sort of catch-up it's going to be, how much of a catch-up, etc. We don't know the details, but Blizzard has confirmed that there will be a knowledge point catch-up, which I think we'll all be excited about. As a side note, as you can see, progression will indeed be capped per week, meaning there shouldn't be any sort of nonsense dragon shard farm, so you can no life for a few days and max out your professions very quickly. That's likely not going to be the case. We are dealing with a cap, but to those who can't play weekly or start late, there's going to be a catch-up system. So I think that will make us all very, very excited. Now, secondly, I think we have another very welcoming change, and this is to do with the new Artisan medal. Currently in Dragonflight, all of you guys have probably experienced this. As we go through the expansion, you've collected more and more Artisan metal, and it is just kind of being stored in your bags. You don't really have anything to do with it, and it's kind of just a useless item at this point. And thankfully, the devs seem to have picked up on that, and so they're changing it in the War Within. First of all, if you guys don't know, the new Artisan medal is called Artisan Acuity. I apologize if that's pronounced wrong, but that's what the item is, and it's basically the same exact item. As you can see here, it is going to be used in recrafting, and it's actually going to be more expensive, so hopefully you're using more on a day-to-day basis. As always, it's also going to be used to craft your better profession equipment, exactly like how it is in Dragonflight, but the most exciting thing is that there is going to be a repetitive sync for these Artisans' Acuity to get some materials. So after you're done all your recrafting, after you have your profession equipment, and after you buy all of the vendor recipes you need, as you get more Artisan's Acuity and you get more and more just stored up in your bag, you can actually go trade them in for some reagents or even a small chance at rare recipes. So I think this is exciting. This is going to solve a lot of bag issues with just having a bunch of gatherers with Artisan metal, a bunch of crafters, and hopefully that will give us a little bit more to do. Now, thirdly, probably one of the biggest changes, but also the broadest change, has to do with the new philosophy around crafting. First of all, if you guys have seen nothing about the new profession system, it is very much Dragonflight with a few changes. So in general, if you like spec trees, if you like the different stats, if you like having quality of items, all of that is staying, and this is very much a repeat of Dragonflight, however with a few quality of life and unique changes. But as you can see, stated by Blizzard themselves, there is a whole new philosophy behind crafting and crafting difficulty in the War Within. These 3 paragraphs really say it well, but they want to make sure that, if somebody has fully spec'd out stats, if they have the best tools possible and they're using those high quality materials, crafters will be able to finally guarantee max quality. Inspiration is going away, so we won't have to be relying on RNG like crazy. But they're also increasing the difficulty of getting higher quality materials. For example, right here, as you will see, they are no longer kind of graduating out of quality 1 materials as a gatherer. In Dragonflight right now, once you get so high in mining and herbalism, you basically never ever collect quality 1s anymore, and you're left with 2 and 3s, and they no longer want to do that. And so they said that, of course, as you get higher level, you're going to get more 3s, but you're never ever going to completely never pick up 1s again. So there's going to be a more average gathering skill around all of those qualities. And because of that, there also is a lot more of higher crafting difficulties for your basic and intermediate crafted reagents. And lastly, they've actually modified the crafting difficulty of items. Right now in Dragonflight, 25% of a recipe's difficulty is made up of, the items you're using. So if you use a quality 3 versus quality 1, that makes up 25% of your total skill score. However, it's now moving to 40. Which just means there's going to be a heavier emphasis on using those higher quality items. Nowadays, a lot of people could use in Dragonflight, a lot of people would pick quality 2 because they're generally the cheapest and then just rely on inspiration procs, but because inspiration's going away and quality 2 isn't going to cut it, you're going to be wanting to buy those quality 3s. We'll have to see how this looks in practice. Once again, this is just an article. This is all speculation. We'll have to see how big of a difference this makes, but that is a change coming with a new expansion. And lastly, the final thing I want to mention before diving into some exciting items is, of course, Ingenuity. As you guys probably just heard, Inspiration is going away. This is beta, Inspiration's still here. It should be removed, so ignore that bug right there. But Inspiration is no longer, and it's getting replaced with Ingenuity as well as Concentration. Now, a more in-depth guide on how to use Concentration and Ingenuity to your advantage will be coming later, but as a basic breakdown, now every single recipe has a concentration amount. And what you can do with that concentration is use it to guarantee the next highest quality of that item. So if it's a quality 1, it'll be a quality 2, if it's a 2, it'll be 3, etc. So for example, right now with my current skill and, quality of items, I can only guarantee a quality 2. So if I craft one, there we go, I got a quality 2. However, let's say, I really need a quality 3, I want to make some money, I need it for my, raids, whatever it is. You can see I want to use my concentration. And as you can see up here, I currently have 500 out of 500, and this recipe is going to cost me 28. So I can choose this and hit apply concentration and hit craft, and it's going to use it. And as you can see, I am now crafting quality 3s. However, it took some concentration away. Now you're probably thinking, how do you actually get concentration? And it's going to be regenerating every single day or slowly throughout time, or you can get an Ingenuity proc, which is that new skill stat right here. Hey everybody, it's Editing Penguin here, and I quickly just want to clarify what I'm about to say because it's actually technically changing. I'm just about to say that Ingenuity will refund all of the concentration that you spend on that craft if it procs, but as you can see in this article that we were looking at earlier, this refund is actually becoming a percentage. So for example, if it's 28 concentration to actually max out your craft, if Ingenuity procs, you might only get 20 out of that 28 back. So please ignore what I'm about to say. And also, I am going to mention that Blizzard wants to keep this rare, and that is where this is stated as well. As you can see, they say that they want to ensure that concentration remains a finite and marketable resource. So they're ultimately making this change because they think concentration is too nice right now, and they want to make it more difficult. So just wanted to throw that in there. I apologize for the correction, and I hope you continue to enjoy. And all this means is that, whatever your percent chance is, you have a chance to actually regain the concentrate that you use and basically spend 0. So right now I have 0 Ingenuity, but let's just say I have 5% and I decided to craft this right here. If Ingenuity happened to proc, I would gain back my 28 and I basically would have gotten a quality 3 for quote-unquote nothing. Of course, I had to use my materials, but I didn't actually waste any concentration. So it's kind of just a percent chance of getting the next higher quality for free. But of course, it is a risky chance because at the end of the day, if it doesn't proc, you're going to be ending up using your concentration. And Blizzard has already stated that they want to make sure that concentration is kind of rare. It's not just something that you can throw out with every craft. You're going to have to think about when to use your concentration, but that is the new system that's replacing inspiration. But alright, enough complicated talk, enough system talk, let's go into the fun items. And the first thing I wanted to bring up is something that is very, very exciting for me. You guys can probably guess it, and that is bags. Now, of course, we always, every single expansion get new bags, and nowadays we have reagent bags. That is not exactly what I'm talking about. Of course, those exist, but they are finally bringing profession bags back with a twist. As you guys can see right here, we have a ton of different bags, and they're all uniquely named, and they all have a very unique purpose. These bags actually give you some stats related to your profession. So for example, right here, this is the jewel crafting bag. As you can see, it requires jewel crafting to actually use, but this increases the maximum yield of crushed gemstones from Algari crushing by 1. So boom, equip this bag and automatically you have a permanent skill stat for your profession. Up here we have the alchemy bag, which increases the chance of experimentations to discover a new recipe by 1%. 1% might not seem by a lot, but especially towards the start of the expansion or towards the start of a new alchemist, that 1% can play a big role in getting recipes. Now, I can't say much about the crafting cost of these. All of these are crafting cost placeholders, so we don't know exactly how expensive they will be, but a very exciting thing is that as of right now on beta, these are BoE. So people who don't want to do crafting orders, don't worry, these are not crafting order bound. Of course, you could still request them on crafting orders, but BoE means these are available to be sold on the auction house. And another great thing for people who don't like the region-wide market or like multiple cross-server things, bags are non-stackable, meaning they are also server-side. So if you're somebody who likes to do a lot of cross-realm, multi-realm crafting, or you just may be on a low pop and so less competition, these bags will be perfect for you. Now, one important thing to note, these are unique, meaning you can only have 2 profession bags equipped at a time, and they're also unique by themselves. So you can't have 2 alchemy bags, you would have to have an alchemy bag and a blacksmithing bag. And of course, that makes sense, you have 2 primary professions, so whatever your primary professions are, pick up those profession bags. You get a 38 slot bag, which is awesome, as well as a stat increase or some sort of profession perk, which just is unbeatable. So I am excited about these, and hopefully you are too. Alright, moving on, we have a brand new system that's combined with a brand new item. And this exists for a handful of professions, but for this video, I'm really going to showcase it with blacksmithing and enchanting. As you can see right here, blacksmithing, we have a brand new item, and this is called Ever-Burning Ignition. And this is something pretty cool. Now this item does require the new Artisan's metal to craft. Once again, this is just a placeholder. We don't ultimately know how much it is. This also is a cooldown, meaning you're going to have only so much of it, but these items give you a stat bonus as you craft. For here, as you can see, you can use one of these ignitions and you will gain Ingenuity, Multicraft, and Resourcefulness based on your specialization for 30 minutes. And if we take a look over at specializations, we have a whole brand new section dedicated to this item. So unlocking this tree will of course give you access to this item. Then you'll see that, the charges reset 25% faster, gain an extra charge, faster, extra charge, faster, extra charge, etc. So this is going to be very good if you want to have this buff. Additionally, you just get your additional perks. So this is your multi-craft tree. You get more multi-craft as you use this item. Same thing with resourcefulness. And then lastly, Ingenuity. And so just for example, right now, I have basically nothing. This is level 1 blacksmithing. I don't have any tools. I only have 5 points into here. But if I use one of these ignitions, which I believe I have in my inventory, or actually I can just go ahead and craft one of these. Here we go. If I use it, as you can see, I have a 30-minute buff, and for those 30 minutes, I have +5 Ingenuity, +5 Multicraft, and +5 Resourcefulness. So that will stack up very, very high as you max out this tree. So this is just a brand new system that's incorporated into blacksmithing, and we can also see the same thing in enchanting. Right here we have this shattering tree, and we've seen shattering before in the past expansions, but this has the same sort of memo. So this will allow you to actually learn the ability to shatter, which gives you bonuses. Then you're just going to get some more perks, and same thing here. You have Multicraft, you have Ingenuity, and then of course you have Resourcefulness. So setup basically the same, but if I shatter something real quick, there we go. This is only a 5-minute buff at the moment, but as you can see, I have Resourcefulness empowered by 5, Ingenuity +5, and Multicraft +5. So these are going to be really nice buffs. You're definitely going to want to max this out to make sure you have the most stats possible. We know how important, Multicraft procs are, especially when trying to get the most profit possible. So these are just 2 new systems that are going to be very cool, and there's a few more like that as well in other professions. Now, just moving on to some fun new items, since we're on enchanting already, mana oils have been added to this profession, and so these are just things that you can coat your weapon in to get some sort of buff, and these last for 2 hours. And so there are quite a few. Let me find them right here. There's currently 3, but these are going to be probably very popular for the raiders, PvPers, anybody doing high content. So this is just another source of income for enchanters that's not necessarily enchants. And same thing goes with a whole new set of cosmetics. These are unlocked through this little cosmetic branch right here called Deceptive Decorations, and we've seen this sort of cosmetic before, but now we can actually craft them. And so let's say, I want to be a mecha gnome, I can craft these. These are BoE, so you can just sell them on the auction house, but right here, I can use it, and there we go, I am a mech gnome. So people who like to change their appearance, change the race of their characters for a limited time, this is just a fun new cosmetic that people might want to collect or just use. So that's just another source of gold income for enchanters out there. Then quickly going over to engineering. Of course, engineering is pretty similar to past expansion, but something I want to bring your mind to is a brand new exciting mount. Engineers are back. It's back to BFA. Engineers are going to be crafting mounts, and I gotta say this mount is pretty awesome. Now, of course, we don't know how expensive this is going to be. These are all placeholder materials and prices, and this does come from Discovery, meaning this is going to be an RNG chance of, how long it takes to actually get this recipe. But I gotta say, this mount looks really cool. I'm finally happy that engineering has another probably going to be very high priced item again. And as we know so far, of course, this is BoE. You should be able to sell it on the auction house. So that's very exciting for all the engineers out there. And last but not least, we have a few more items with alchemy that I want to mention. First of all, kind of going back to that temporary buff system with ignition, we have a new concept in alchemy called spillover. Now, spillover is something that you're going to unlock either in the flasks tree, which is basically flasks and phials, or in the potions tree. And as you guys can see, these trees are very slim compared to last expansion. Blizzard has said that trees are basically done. They almost confirmed that alchemy is 99% done. So yes, this is actually a 2-node potion tree, which is very, very funny. But either one you go, you're going to get spillover effect for that sort of item. And what this does is exactly what it says right here. Of course, the numbers and amounts could change. It might not necessarily always be +3, but at the current moment, it says that as you craft potions, you will gain potion spillover, which grants +3 multicraft within 5 minutes, and this stacks up to 5 at a time. Which basically means this rewards you doing bulk crafting. So as you craft potions, you have a chance to gain a proc that's going to do +3. These will stack up to 5 times, so if you have all 5, that's +15. And so you're just going to be getting more and more potions as you craft. So it's really going to benefit you to craft potions in bulk. This kind of reminds me of the old BFA tools of the trade with alchemy. It kind of had a temporary buff to get a lot more, so it's very similar to that. And of course, as you max this out, you will gain more stats. Right here, you know, the effectiveness of spillover is increased by 50%. This right here, the maximum stacks of spillover is doubled, so no longer stacks up to 5, it stacks up to 10. And so this is going to be very, very important, once again, if you are an alchemy crafter. And the last set of items that I want to show you is this brand new transmute system for alchemy. Transmutes are staying. If you guys don't have alts already, alts are going to be your friend. There are transmutes back again for cloth and tailoring. There are transmutes like you're going to see in alchemy. And we know that there are skinning bait, meaning there's likely going to be daily skins. So alt armies are going to be very, very happy. But this is a very complicated, or very in-depth, I should say, not necessarily complicated, transmuting system. We're going to have a dedicated video to this, but this is going to allow us to recycle basically old items and turn them into something actually useful. So as you can see, you're going to learn this right here, and so you can actually turn 20 materials into just a handful of other items. So what you could do is turn in either right here, I have some herbs, I have some transmutagens, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but let's say I just want to transmute these right here. This is going to take 20 of our herbs, and as you can see, we get a bunch of just random stuff. We got some of the transmutagens, and then we also got ore. And we could do this for you really as much of items we want. So if there's a very cheap herb on the auction house that has basically no value, you could try to recycle this into new materials. There we go. We got more and more items. We got some ore, we got an herb, etc. And so these transmutations over here, now these have a cooldown. So let me actually refresh my cooldowns real quick. But this is actually going to be how you get some rare materials. Right here, this is the new epic gem that jewel crafters are going to need to make those, you know, epic quality gems. And this is actually created through a transmute by alchemy. And it requires those gleaming transmutagens, which we got earlier from, you know, doing that initial transmute. So this is going to be something very valuable. They also have chaos, which requires these gleamings as well, and this will also just provide a handful of items. There we go, we got a bunch of different herbs and ore. And then also we can change the different transmutagens into different items. So if we need to get one of certain type, etc., we can, you know, recycle as you want. And so these can just be used to get a range of different materials. Once again, we'll have a more in-depth video, but there's going to be a lot of transmutes and a lot of fun, exciting stuff with this system. Personally, I haven't figured it out all myself yet. There's a lot to learn, but this is going to be a great way to kind of get rid of all of these cheap materials that are practically useless hanging around, you know, as the expansion goes on, and you get some rare byproduct stuff like this, so it's just going to be a fun, exciting system. And lastly, the final thing I want to mention, which doesn't seem very profession related, but trust me, it is, and I'll have to put a screenshot of this because I can't do it on beta myself, because I can't copy over characters yet, but they are finally making it that you can transfer time walking badges to different characters, which basically means that time walking badges are now account wide. So I'll throw up a screenshot. You're going to be able to send your badges to other characters, which means if you haven't got the chef's hat already, this comes from Wrath time walking. This is going to be way easier to get. To those who don't know about this item speeds up your cooking exponentially. It's a must-have if you want to do any sort of cooking, but it can sometimes be a pain because you either have to do daily quest and do that for about a month to get the chef's hat, or you have to spend about 2,500 badges during time walking, Wrath time walking specifically, to get the item. Now, time walking badges isn't awful, but if you're somebody who doesn't do a lot of time walking, getting 2,500 badges on a single character is pretty rough. But if you can now just send badges back and forth, that means you can do, you know, the weekly time walking quest that gives you like automatically 500 badges. Send all your badges to one character and boom, there you go, you have the chef's hat. It's an account-wide toy, so only have to buy it once and then you're good to go. And that's just going to make any sort of time walking rewards way easier to get. I think it's a great change. If you're a mount collector, you're probably going to be very happy. If you are a chef, you're going to be very happy. But I just wanted to include that in the video because I think that's also very exciting news. But yeah, everybody, that's just some 10 new additions and changes coming in within the War Within. I know many of you probably have a lot of questions, and I hope to answer those in more videos. I do plan to do an in-depth guide on each profession as we get closer to the expansion. It's a little bit too soon to do some deep dives, but we can definitely get started on that process. If you guys have any particular questions about a profession, if you want to see anything particular from beta, please let me know and I'll share it with you guys all in the comments or on Discord. So feel free to let me know, and let me know if you're excited about these new changes like I am. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And as always, everybody, have a good day.